Good morning. Today I want to talk about money. Oh boy. A brief overview of history, how we got here, so that we can figure out how to get out of the mess we're in. This is Aunt Beth's perspective and my summary of history to give a frame of reference. So, part one of a series on walking out of Babylon. So, good morning. This is Aunt Beth. Welcome to my lamppost. If we're going to get out of this mess, we need to know how we got in and have some sort of a map. So I'm going to give you a little bit of abbreviated history on money and currency and fiat currency. And so let's dive in. When you were a farmer, back in the olden days, I'm talking like 4,000 years ago or so, you would farm your crops, and then you would take them to market, and you would trade for things that you needed, tools, whatever. If you were a sheep farmer, you would do the same. You would cut the wool off your sheep, card it, spin it, weave it into cloth, and take it to market. And these all had distinct harvest seasons, so to speak, where things were widely available and then they weren't, and so therefore they were more valuable. But what if you had a bad crop? Or what if the people that you wanted to trade with weren't really interested in what you had? You were kind of stuck. So, or what if you were traveling? Okay, and you don't want to take all your sheep with you. How's that work? So there was a central medium that was developed in different cultures as far as value. Okay. Now, as a fun fact, the Roman soldiers were paid in salt. So they could take salt with them anywhere, and salt was recognized as being of value. In fact, our word salary comes from the word salt. And your value in medieval times was determined by where you sat in relationship to the salt cellar, the salt shaker. Were you above the salt or below the salt? So we talk about people being worth their salt, but we also have a current expression that dates back to medieval times, really, when people joke that that's above my pay grade. Well, they're really saying that's below the salt on the table where I sit. I don't have to deal with that issue. It's not within the realm of my authority. So, kind of a fun fact. So, we get to medieval times, and you're traveling. And other than salt, which lasts, and but it can get wet. All right. How do you record value that's recognized? How do you transfer value? So people started coining, and it had value in and of itself. Either a gold coin, a silver coin, a brass coin. They had value in and of themselves. So if you had this silver, you could take it anywhere, and people would trade for silver. Okay, so you could buy things. So money has a value in and of itself. It's not the same as currency. So how did we get to paper? Well, in the medieval times, what would happen is if you were traveling, the problem with this is if it's heavy, and if you got robbed, how do you prove this is yours? So in medieval times, we're talking 14, 15, 1600s, you would go and give your money to a banker. He would write you a letter of credit or introduction, and you would take this piece of paper and you would go to the city that you were going to. Say you were going from Rome to somewhere in France, and you would go to the family that your banker knew with this letter of introduction, and you would get French coins. Okay, problem solved. You're not carrying money. Okay, you are just having a piece of paper. And in fact, this tradition or this practice came from something that we currently still have today in the Middle East and in India, called hawala. So it's a transfer of trust between people that know each other. So I give my money to a family member, and they have another family member overseas, and I go to that family member with the secret password, and they will give me the money. So it's an honor system between families, and they have a bookkeeping system. It's the whole deal. But it's the Middle East, or medieval times, got that idea from them, and they started using it, but they were using banks as intermediaries, not necessarily family to family. So then what happened is, this is on a piece of paper. Then governments started printing pieces of paper, and it was worth a certain amount of gold. Okay, in the older currencies in the United States, it would actually say, this is, I don't remember the exact words. But what this used to mean is that for every dollar, there was a dollar's worth of gold in the U.S. banks. So it was the gold standard. And so there was sort of a second reference point. This has money because there's something solid, a tangible asset that guarantees this. In 1972, President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. So that meant for now we're dealing with monopoly money, fiat currency. It's not money anymore. There's nothing tangible behind this. It's currency. All right? You need more, you print more. It used to be tied to the petrodollar, a barrel of oil. And it is kind of still. But it's mostly tied to the reputation of the United States. The United States needs more, they print more. Okay, fun fact, the Federal Reserve is not a government bank. It is a private bank, and it's not a reserve because they don't hold anything, okay? They're just the mediator, all right? But the U.S. government needs more, they print more. Now the U.S. and other world governments are considering going to the digital dollar. The problem with this is they need more. They don't have to print more. They just, digitally, okay, increase it. They need money. They can take it from your account. We'll see. If we're under a cyber attack, it's gone. You're done. Okay. So there's a couple problems in all this. Gradually, we've floated away from money, something solid, something tangible, something that has value in and of itself. Okay, to this. Now, this is why the people are so interested in bricks. Because they're talking about having a money that's based on gold. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South America. But there's more than just those 5 nations, okay? They're coming together and saying, we don't want to be whiplashed by the reputation of the United States. We want something solid. We're going to print money, and it's going to be based on gold. So, by the way, China is buying a phenomenal amount of gold physically. Just fun fact. So, there's a couple lessons. Money is a way to transfer time, value, goods, okay? But the value is basically, if I don't need rice or almonds or whatever, okay, it's the law of supply and demand. Money is not equal to currency. This is money. This is currency. Currency can be much easier manipulated. You need more, you print more. Whoop, all of a sudden I have $100. This is much harder to manipulate. But the trap is that we've been thinking if you have more of this or more of this, you're more valuable as a person. And that's not true. We're all loved. We're all of value in the sight of God. We're all eternal. You have the spark of eternity on the inside of you. This will be gone. This will melt, be gone. But you will last forever. You have incredible value, all right, in the sight of God. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. And don't equate how much you have of this or this with how valuable you are. That is not the case, all right? We've been deceived. People are scrambling. Excuse me. People are scrambling to get more of this. But you can increase your net worth for eternity, not necessarily your net worth as far as this. I hope this encourages you. We'll keep talking about how to walk out of Babylon and get free from this money trap, okay? And see money as a tool, not as a trap. Money, not currency. Anyway, I hope this encourages you. Have a fabulous day. All God's best.